And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues of confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time on Spreaker Radio, Blog Talk Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and on 365 Live Radio every Friday afternoon from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day, simply by clicking on that icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That is where I get all the emails that I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to make a comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at 646-652-2464. Again, that number is 646-652-2464. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer all of your emails just like I always do. Today, my expert contributor is John Matthews in his Conservative Syndicate Corner, and my special guest is Sean LaFave with his continuing series, Geared for Wellness. But right now, I want you to know that at 4:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 70 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. By the way, that's down from 94 degrees on its way to 55 degrees. Boy, what a swing that really is. But you know what? Right now, let's talk about the news. We've encapsulated this a bit so that we can get a lot of stuff in. And you can talk to your neighbors, your friends, the people you work with, work for. You can talk to anybody, and they'll know that you know what's going on in the world today. First up, 10 minutes ago, China is suspected in a massive breach of federal personnel data. China-based hackers are suspected of breaking into the computer networks of the United States Government Personnel Office and stealing identifying information of at least 4 million federal workers, American officials said today. The Department of Homeland Security said in a statement that data from the Office of Personnel Management and the Interior Department had been compromised. The FBI is conducting an investigation to identify how and why this occurred, the statement said. The hackers were believed to be based in China, said Senator Susan Collins, a Maine Republican. Collins, a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, said the breach was yet another indication of a foreign power probing successfully and focusing on what appears to be data that would identify people with security clearances. A U.S. official who declined to be identified said the data breach could potentially affect every federal agency. One key question is whether intelligence agency employee information was actually stolen. Former government employees are affected as well. This is an attack against the nation, said Ken Amam, Chief Strategy Officer of CDIM, who said the attack fit the pattern of those carried out by nation states for the purpose of espionage. You know what? More to come on this, I'm sure. We'll talk about it a lot more later. But, let's move along for now. You've got the gist of what's going on. So do I. It's one more offense against the United States and the security of the United States and its citizens that's been proven that China can do it. They keep doing it. Well, 1 hour ago, police confirmed Pam Geller was initial target of a terror plot. The family of a Boston man shot to death by terrorism investigators was shocked by allegations that he planned to kill police officers and saw no signs that he had become radicalized, their attorney said today. Ronald Sullivan, a Harvard law professor, said Usama Rahim's family considered him an energetic young man trying to make his way in this world and saw no behavior or changes in demeanor that would lead them to suspect he would espouse violence. Surrounded by Rahim's brothers, mother, and wife on the sidewalk where Rahim was shot, Sullivan said they hope to work productively and cooperatively with investigators in a joint effort to search for the truth. Let me be clear, the family is not making any substantive claims at this time about what happened in this case, Sullivan said. He said the family planned to view a video of the shooting later today, but said that may not tell the whole story. Rahim, 26, was fatally shot it was on Tuesday, after investigators said he refused to drop a military-style knife as they sought to question him about terrorist-related information. Police said the video shows officers backing up and Rahim moving toward them before they actually fired. Well, you know what? If there's video, I think we're probably going to find out a lot more than what we would have found out had there not been cameras around. How about this? In today, the United States might deploy missiles in Europe to counter Russia. The Obama administration is weighing a range of aggressive responses to Russia's alleged violation of a Cold War-era nuclear treaty, including deploying land-based missiles in Europe that could preemptively destroy the Russian weapons. This counterforce option is among possibilities the administration is considering as it reviews its entire policy toward Russia in light of Moscow's military intervention in Ukraine, its annexation of Crimea, and other actions the United States deems confrontational in Europe and beyond. The options go so far as one implied, but not stated implicitly, that would improve the ability of U.S. nuclear weapons to destroy military targets on Russian territory. It all has a certain Cold War ring. Even in the White House ultimately describes to continue tolerating Russia's alleged flight testing of a ground-launched cruise missile with a range prohibited by the treaty. Russia denies violating the treaty and has, in turn, claimed violations by the United States in erecting missile defenses. It is unclear whether Russia has actually deployed the suspect missile or whether Washington would make any military move if the Russians stopped short of deployment. For now, administration officials say they prefer to continue trying to talk Moscow into treaty compliance. You know, it just keeps going. And our relationships with other countries keep deteriorating. At some point, somebody's got to take a strong look at what's going on here. You know, our foreign policy seems to really suck these days. But does that also mean that I'm willing to let the security of the citizens of the United States go? No, I am absolutely not willing to let that happen. Well, we're going to go on a commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about an Associated Press interview. Canada's Harper says Russia cannot rejoin the G7. I'm going to tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Well, I will if I can get this doggone thing to work. It doesn't look like it's going to come. There we go. There we go. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group, no mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. When we left, we were talking about the news. I promised to continue that, and I'm absolutely going to do what I promised. And we were talking about an Associated Press interview. Canada's Harper says Russia cannot rejoin the G7. Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper said today that Russia should never be allowed back into the group of seven as long as Vladimir Putin is president. Harper said in an exclusive interview with the Associated Press that he expects the group won't ever let Putin back in. He made the remarks ahead of his trip to Ukraine and the Group of Seven meeting in Germany this week. Harper said even long before the Ukraine crisis, Russia has eroded any basis for belonging to the group of wealthy nations. He also noted that Russia has ramped up long-range bomber patrols near North American airspace. The G7 suspended Russia last year, but hasn't ruled out welcoming him back. I don't think Russia under Vladimir Putin belongs in the G7, period, Harper said. Canada would very, very strongly oppose Putin ever sitting around that table again. It would require consensus to bring Russia back, and the consensus will just not happen. The Prime Minister said Russia is far from like-minded. Russia is more often than not trying deliberately to be a strategic rival to deliberately counter the good things we're trying to achieve in the world than for no other reason than to just counter them, Harper said. Boy, you know what? I'm a little worried about Russia, aren't you? You see this stuff going on. You see Vladimir Putin flexing his muscles. You see everybody else. They're wobbling their lips, but they're not doing much. So, I'm a little worried about what's going on here. This does feel an awful lot like the Cold War again. Well, in 56 minutes ago, the latest first question at Women's World Cup. Any bribes? In the opening news conference for the Women's World Cup, the first question the head of Canadian soccer faced was whether there were bribes involving Canada's bid to be the host. The question stemmed from the corruption scandal that has rocked FIFA. The World Cup. No, absolutely not, said Victor Montagliani, the president of the Canadian Soccer Association. He was peppered at the start of today's press conference with questions related to possible improprieties. It was somewhat amusing because Canada was the only candidate when the bids were considered in 2011. Zimbabwe withdrew because of a lack of infrastructure. He was also asked, since it was the first major FIFA event since the scandal broke, whether it had had any impact on the tournament. Montagliani pointed to ticket sales. Over 52,000 tickets have been sold for the tournament opener on Saturday between host Canada and China in Edmonton. I actually think that it's a positive thing that the first tournament after whatever happened last week is the Women's World Cup, he said, because women's football is a very pure form of football, and I think women's football can shine some light on the dark clouds that are hanging over the game. Anything that would shine a dark light would be a welcome thing here, don't you think? Well, how about this? FDA panel backs female libido pill under safety conditions. Here's the thing. The drug industry's decade-spanning search for a female equivalent to Viagra took a major step forward today as government experts recommended approval for a pill to boost sexual desire in women. The first-of-a-kind endorsement came with safety reservations, however, due to drug side effects, including fatigue, low blood pressure, and fainting. The panel of Food and Drug Administration advisors voted 18 to 6 in favor of Sprout Pharmaceuticals' daily pill, I think it's flibanserin. I'll try that again. Flibanserin is what it is, on the condition that the company develops a plan to manage its risks. The recommendation is a major victory for a drug sometimes hailed as female Viagra, but which has been plagued for years by concerns of lackluster effectiveness and safety issues. The FDA has rejected the drug twice since 2010, and a similar panel of FDA experts voted unanimously against the drug 5 years ago. Today's vote is non-binding, but the FDA often follows the advice of its experts. An official decision is expected in August. You know what? It seems to me everything we see has got side effects that just scare the living daylights out of me. How about this? Rick Perry goes at it again and launches his 2016 bid. Former governor from Texas, Rick Perry, opened his second bid for the Republican presidential nomination today, pledging to end an era of failed leadership and hoping this campaign will go better than his last one. The longest-serving governor in Texas history. When he left office in January, Perry made his announcement inside a steamy hangar at an airfield outside of Dallas, in the company of fellow veterans and hulking cargo plane like the one he flew for the Air Force. Perry vowed to help the country rise above its slow economic recovery. During Perry's last 7 years in office, Texas created 1.5 million new jobs. I have been tested, Perry said. I have led the most successful state in America. In a nod to the Tea Party, he said, our rights come from God, not from government. This time, Perry is a decided underdog who has been visiting early voting states for months, hoping to convince voters he deserves another chance. In 2012, he announced late, surged in the polls, but wilted amid a series of gaffes. He's still trying to live down the oops he sheepishly uttered in a brain freeze moment during a debate in 2012 race when he forgot one of the federal agencies he vowed to close as president. You know, I think it's good that he's going to be there. I think he's going to raise the bar. I really do. I think that he was ill. I think he was ill-prepared as well. And I think this time he's not going to make those same mistakes. Well, in today, Bush joins unwieldy race as new phase of GOP campaigns begins. Jeb Bush stepped into the Republican race for president today, finally taking his place after months of hints and relentless fundraising amid an unwieldy field of GOP candidates unlike any in recent history, or recent memory anyway. The son of one president, the brother of another, the former Florida governor, has the rank of frontrunner and the donors to match. He now has 8 months before the first votes are cast in the Iowa caucuses to prove he's a worthy of both. It's as wide open a race as we've seen in a long time, said Republican strategist Kevin Madden, who described Bush as the technical frontrunner in a field that stands at 11 major declared candidates. Among them, former Texas Governor Rick Perry, who returned today to presidential politics 4 years after his 2012 presidential bid ended in disaster, vowing during his own campaign kickoff to end an era of failed leadership. While both men were widely expected to enter the race, which got its unofficial start when Bush said in December that he was exploring whether to seek the Republican nomination, the confirmation from aides that Bush will indeed run is nonetheless a defining moment for the GOP. You know what? When we come back, we're going to talk about the IRS loses. If you want to know more about politics, don't forget to keep listening to the show. When we have John Matthews here a little bit later, we'll be talking all about Rick Perry. We'll be talking about all the candidates. When we come back, we're going to talk about the IRS loses. First off, an ex-wife's theft of the husband's money saves him from her tax bill. So don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Well, I don't know what's going on with these doggone commercials today. It just doesn't seem like the board is working right. There it goes. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with the interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now,
the story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show. The IRS loses. Let's talk about this first case. An ex-wife's theft of a husband's money saves him from her tax bill. Robbie Gilbert owned and ran a business while his wife managed all of their personal accounts. When the couple fell behind on their taxes, Gilbert entered an installment agreement with the IRS. They subsequently divorced, at which point he discovered that his wife had stolen the money that he had saved to pay the tax bill and fled. The IRS subsequently tried to hold him liable for his wife's taxes on their joint returns. He went to court, and this is what the judge said. Under the installment agreement, Gilbert had paid more tax than he owed as his share under the divorce decree. He had cooperated with the IRS, tried to pay the tax, and would have, but for his ex-wife's wrongdoing. So equity requires that he be relieved of liability for her taxes. God, you got to love it, right? Got to love it. Day before yesterday, we had just the opposite kind of thing going on. Well, the next case today, the IRS loses. A defense lawyer's mistakes set aside a verdict. Let me tell you about it. Rudolfo Pasquale had lived as a legal immigrant in the United States since 1970. After the IRS examined his taxes, he pleaded guilty to filing 2 false tax returns for which he received probation after being told by his lawyer that it would not affect his immigration status. But the government then moved to deport him due to his plea. His new immigration lawyer then had him take a psychiatric exam that found he suffered from a severe mental illness that impaired his ability to help in his own defense. He went to court, and this is what the judge said. Pasquale's tax lawyer had both falsely advised him and misrepresented to the court his mental competence to enter a plea. The tax verdict is set aside for a new trial. By the way, he won that new trial, just in case you're wondering. Let me give you one more. The IRS concedes. You know what? I've told you before, the IRS always concedes when they're pretty sure they can't win a case, and that's what's going on right here. Let me tell you about it. Its restitution for tax evasion cannot be collected by the IRS under the tax code. Let me tell you about it. An individual pleaded guilty to criminal tax evasion and was ordered to pay restitution as part of his sentence. IRS personnel asked if they could collect unpaid restitution through tax assessment. IRS legal opinion? Restitution is a criminal case and not a tax payment, but a sanction that includes the cost of such governmental expenses as incarceration and probation supervision. So, restitution cannot be collected by the IRS through the tax system, even if it is for tax evasion, and the IRS applies it to a tax account. The response to non-payment must come through the criminal legal process. Now, you gotta love it, right? You just gotta love this kind of stuff. I know I do. Now, you've heard me talking about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing things. Well, that's kind of where we're at right now when we talk about inside the IRS. Let me tell you about it. In this particular case, this is going to be just a little bit long-winded, but right after, it's sort of like the IRS is playing its own games all over again. In this case, IRS challenges the pension plans with life insurance subtrusts. Let me tell you about it. A new IRS ruling challenges the popular strategy of buying life insurance through a pension plan account by means of a pension plan subtrust. So, how's it used to work? An individual has his or her pension plan invest in life insurance on his own life. A subtrust is formed to hold the policy and keep the individual from having incidents of ownership in that policy, such as the ability to change the beneficiary. This keeps the policy's proceeds out of the individual's taxable estate, which keeps them free from the estate tax. Since life insurance proceeds are generally free of income tax, the policy proceeds become available to the individual's beneficiaries free of both estate tax and income tax for use as the terms of the subtrust direct. So there's deductible pension plan contributions by life insurance benefits that are tax-free. In contrast, if the individual dies with cash in the pension plan account, the cash will be subject to estate tax at that time and then also to income tax when distributed to the heirs. Potential double taxation is what's going to happen here. So, using the pension plan funds to buy life insurance converts them from being subject to double taxation to being tax-free, a potential huge payoff. Now, life insurance subtrusts have been used since way back in 1984 when Congress repealed an earlier unlimited estate tax exclusion for qualified plan retirement benefits. But the IRS has never formally ruled on them to either approve them or disapprove of them. So what's new? In a recent technical advice memorandum, the IRS states that use of a life insurance subtrust violates the pension plan laws when amounts in it can't be used to pay retirement benefits. So, the entire pension plan could be disqualified, forfeiting all of its tax benefits for both the employer and the plan participants. Now, although this applies only to the single taxpayer to whom it was issued, it does indicate the IRS's view. Others who use life insurance subtrusts should be alerted that the IRS may make a general ruling on them in the near future that may be adverse. So consult an expert to see exactly what you should do. Now, Do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to be with our own Sean LaFave in his continuing series Geared for Wellness. And Sean's got a special guest today, Dr. Umatuma. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. In any event, we're going to be right back with our own Sean LaFave after these brief messages, so do not go away. You know what? There it goes. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group, no mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:33 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 69 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? That young whippersnapper's waiting in the corner. His testosterone is flying. Let's get him in here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Hey, Sean, welcome aboard. Good to have you here. I'm excited about today's show. Somebody told me that we're going to be fooling around for the next half hour or so.
We are going to be fooling. We're going to be fooling around talking about fooling around. Absolutely. So we've got. Go ahead.
No, I'm all for it. Just go for it, buddy. Listen. Here's the deal. When we're going to be talking about fertility. When you're talking about fertility, you don't want to be left at the gate.
No, you don't.
So now I know you've got a very special guest. So why don't I let you introduce her, and I'll only interrupt you as often as I can.
All right, so we got with us today Dr. Amatma Shah, and you can just call her Dr. Which, when I associate, I've got this raspy voice today, especially when I say it with that voice. Doesn't Dr. sound like a character from like a James Bond movie or something? Like, oh, hello, you must be Dr. Yeah. So I love that name. It's so cool. But Dr. is amazing. She's a naturopathic doctor who works with like holistic-minded women and couples as well who are passionate about having babies naturally. So she really tries to help women have babies naturally. She has a 95% success rate of women getting pregnant who follow her programs, which is absolutely an astounding number.
Well, Sean, I'm a big advocate of procreating in a natural way.
Yeah. Oh, I think more natural the better. So she's amazing. I tell you what, she's intuitive, she's knowledgeable, she's a big picture thinker, which is, I love that. I think is awesome. She's a great listener. At least I think that's what she told me. I can't remember. And she's a deep space holder. Now, Robert, I'm going to let you ask her what that means. She's a deep space holder, and she's also really what I think is the best thing. She's a skilled healer, but she's amazing at healing. So Dr. Amatma, or Dr. thanks for what got you into this profession and really some of the things that you think the direction you're going with that. So tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and how you got to be where you're doing today.
Absolutely. So I started out on this path probably since I was pretty young. I often joke that my background is Indian, so I was pretty much bred to be a doctor. And it's either doctor, engineer, or a lawyer. Pick one. But my path was laid out for me. And I went to undergraduate school with a complete distaste for medicine. I really didn't understand why the mind and body were so disconnected. So it didn't make sense for me to go to medical school, and I kept looking for a different path. And it wasn't until the end of my college career that I tripped upon naturopathic medicine and pretty much fell in love. It was an immediate, it took me 3 minutes to decide that's what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. So I've been on that path for almost 15 years, and I've been in practice myself for about 9 years. And fertility has become a passion of mine, mostly because we have a really high growing number of couples between the age of 18 and 45. And that starts as young as 18. 1 in 5 couples is actually infertile. So that started to fascinate me because does that mean that 20% of the couples out there are practicing to become fertile? Right. Yes, we could.
Yes.
That's a good deal. That's a good deal.
Well, they're practicing. But some of them have been practicing for 5 or 7 years, so they're a little tired of practicing. They're wanting to get on with it.
You got to be kidding me. Practice makes perfect. I'm 70 years old. I'm not tired of practicing yet.
Yes.
Robert, you're not allowed to make your own grandchildren, Robert. It doesn't work that way.
Well, not even interested in making my own grandchildren. That sounds just plain nasty.
Yes, that sounds pretty bad. Yeah. I don't want to know what you guys are up to.
So tell us, obviously a lot of people are familiar with fertility, and obviously we think of things like, in vitro fertilization and all these different medical procedures. Tell us what a natural approach looks like. What makes your, even other natural practices, let alone from the medical world, what makes it so much different and so much better?
Well, yeah, so the approach is really about getting to the root of the problem. So even though these couples have been diagnosed as infertile, there's usually a problem that's underlying. And often that problem has nothing to do with their reproductive organs. It might be their thyroid or their adrenal glands or the pituitary. It could be a multi-layered problem. They might have heavy metals, or they might be completely stressed out, or they have multiples of these problems, and no one is actually looking at them as a person. A lot of the Western model is how can we change people's hormones to have them increase
Doctor, hang on a second. Doctor, hang on a second.
Oh, yeah.
Sean, are you breathing hard on your? Are you breathing hard in the background, or what's going on?
I was getting a little excited, but I don't think I'm breathing that hard. Am I blowing into my microphone?
Were you hearing it, Doctor? I was hearing it.
Yeah, I was hearing a little bit of air.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I'll move my microphone. Yeah. I have my microphone next to my mouth. I'm sorry. I'll stop doing that now. I was getting excited, talking about hormones and stuff. So I'm down now.
Well, we're getting ready to in about 45 seconds to go. Doctor, I'd like you to just sort of talk a little bit more about the infertility, because I think a lot of people think of infertility as being either a man can't have an erection or women have no libido or what's going on there. And I have the feeling that we're talking more about maybe it's a sperm issue or it's an egg issue. When we come back from this commercial break, could you address that and just kind of clarify that for us a little bit?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave and Dr. Amatma.
Yes,
okay.
Dr. Om. Yeah.
We'll be right back with Dr. Om right after these brief messages. Do not go away. This is going to be great if we can keep it going. Don't go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-5600. 4900, or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. And I thought we were talking about sex in the 60s, and actually we're talking about sex today. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave, who's got a libido that is bigger than the room, and we're talking about his special guest, Dr. who is going to just straighten him right out. Pardon the pun. Sean, you've got the microphone, buddy.
So thanks for that introduction. That's a tall order to stand up to. But
you feel like a stud? You feel like a stud now, Sean?
I do. I know. I want the people to go to my website to actually have health concerns. I don't want them to go there for other reasons. But anyway,
the big deal here, Sean, is not standing up to it. It's how long you can stand up to it. That's what we're going to find out here now.
Yes, exactly. So doctor. So we're going to get back to actually talking about fertility now. So that's way more important. But so Dr. You said something in last segment. You talked about the thyroid, and you talked about the adrenal glands, and it's really funny that you said that, because probably a week ago I had a friend that told me that one of his best friends, the couple, was trying to get married, and they were having a hard time, trying to get pregnant and having a hard time. And I said, well, I'd be happy to talk to him. And he said, well, what would you address? What would you look at? And I said, honestly, I don't know anything about her, but the first thing I would look at is her thyroid and her adrenal glands. And he kind of looked at me like, what are you talking about? And I think that's the big thing, what Robert alluded to on the last segment is, we think of infertility, we think of, sex, maybe sexual dysfunction, but obviously we think of reproductive organ dysfunction, but really it could be your reproductive organs work perfectly, and that's not the reason why you're not getting pregnant. So maybe you can kind of give us a little bit of a broad definition of what infertility really is and kind of what are some of the more prevalent root causes.
Right, yeah. So the infertility is defined technically in Western science as for a couple below the age of 35, inability to conceive, actively trying for at least 1 year. And then over 35, it's defined by if you've been trying for more than 6 months. So that's the definition, and technically that doesn't really tell us, well, what's actually happening. So the complexity of the actual problem is such that there's so many things that can be happening, right? Someone could have a hormonal issue at the level of the ovaries, so the eggs aren't producing as well as they should, or there isn't the right balance of hormones to actually help carry that baby to term. Like the body needs a hormone called progesterone, which is super vital to, at least in the first trimester, carry that child and keep it growing. And when women don't have enough progesterone, it often causes early stage miscarriage. It can cause just an inability to conceive at all. So that's one level of problem at the level of the ovaries. Progesterone is a hormone that only affects the ovaries. But there are many hormones that are signaling to the ovaries how much progesterone to produce, as well as there's this finely tuned system that it would take me a few hours to explain, but we'll just keep it really simple, that the thyroid, the gland that's in the throat, and the adrenals, which are the glands that sit above the kidneys in the back, are two really important glands that produce hormones that also influence the function of the ovaries. How many eggs are produced? How well are they produced? What is the quality of those eggs? As well as progesterone that's going to be floating around. So when we have, let's say someone has spent 20 years of their life being exhausted all the time. They're tired, they don't have enough energy, they're totally stressed out, they live in the environment that we have, so the body is dealing with environmental stressors. They maybe have a high-paced life. They've kind of like stacked the odds against them. Their adrenals are probably at the point of fatigue, which means that they're not functioning as well as they should. And at that point, if their adrenals aren't functioning very well, then their ovaries are impacted, and those two are not functioning very well. So that's one possibility. So thyroid is the other. The thyroid gland is responsible for most of the metabolism in the body. And I often simplify it to, does the baby have the right amount of, is there like an incubation effect from the thyroid? So if someone is extremely cold all the time, they have cold hands and feet, they wear bazillions of layers, they probably don't have the internal warmth as would be needed to help incubate this child. It's a very simplistic explanation, but it kind of gives you a visual of what's needed in the body. And as I mentioned, these hormones are finely tuned hormones that if they're out of balance, if there isn't enough thyroid hormone, if there isn't enough adrenal hormones, there won't be enough hormones at the level of the ovaries. So even holistic doctors, quote unquote, these are Western-trained integrative medicine docs, a lot of them will say, well, if you're low in progesterone, just give the woman progesterone. And my perspective is, well, that's fine, and that can work really well, but how great would it be if the body just produced the right amount of progesterone once you get the underlying causes dealt with?
I think that makes sense. Awesome. That makes perfectly good sense. So kind of really in a nutshell, what you're saying is that obviously all of the different parts of the body work together synergistically. We all know that that everything works together. But if one part or two or three other parts of the body aren't working in an effective manner, that once a woman does get pregnant, that she will be able to have a healthy pregnancy. So now something's not working right, it's going to make the pregnancy have problems. Really, though, the body is smart enough, that innate intelligence in the body says, you know what, we're not going to get pregnant right now until you fix this issue. You get unstressed, you get your thyroid back in balance, or whatever the case might be. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly, Sean.
Very cool. You know what, we're going to a commercial break. I want to let everyone know that Dr. Am is having a fertility summit that starts next week, and if anyone is interested, or you know someone who is interested who's struggling with getting pregnant, have them go check out this telesummit. It's absolutely free, and you can just go to getfertilestayfertile.com and sign up, and it costs absolutely nothing. And there's going to be like 20 experts or something speaking on this summit.
Yeah, 25. Yep.
And we're talking to our own Sean LaFave at his Geared for Wellness Corner with his special guest, Dr. Am. And if you're having problems getting pregnant, Sean said for me to tell you, here comes Santa Claus. Anyway, we'll be right back after these brief messages. Don't go away. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group, no mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now from Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And I am so excited because we've got Sean Lefebvre, his Geared for Wellness group. We're talking about Sean's sex life. You know what? I think better we talk to Sean's guest, Dr. Dr. Let's get this subject off of Sean. Sean is just dying over there in the woods. So when we left, Sean, what was it you wanted Dr. to explain?
I don't even remember anymore. I'm glad we're not on TV because I'm pretty sure. Like even I probably am embarrassed right now. No one can even see me. But no, we were talking about how the body is really all this interrelated connectiveness in the body. You know, the thyroid, everything from the heart to the adrenal glands and the spleen, and you name it, everything works together. So maybe what you could talk about, Dr. is how your approach differs. Like obviously if I go to the medical doctor, they want to try progesterone cream, they want to give hormones, or they want to try, or if a woman goes, they want to try all these things and almost like force the pregnancy to happen, regardless of what the rest of the body is doing. So how does your approach differ from what they would expect if they were to go to a medical doctor?
Yeah, so the main difference is in our mindset, right? So I believe that as a holistic doctor, my job is to put the pieces of a puzzle together and see how everything fits, rather than pull it apart and fix the one part that doesn't work. So I think that that's one really big differentiation between a holistic doctor and a Western-minded doctor.
Let me ask you this, Dr. Dr. let me ask you this, because I want to make sure that I've got this right. So what you're seeing is that the body is kind of out of balance for some reason, and whether it be diet or exercise or the lack of some chemicals that are within the body, or something's going on that's wrong, and rather than just fix it with a prescription, fix it with a drug, you're trying to find out what the underlying cause is, and if you can fix that, you fix the body. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely. Exactly. You said it better than I said it. That's awesome. I need to record that.
All right, that's a wrap, people. We're done. Everybody go home.
So the average, when people come to you, do they come to you as an individual, or do they come to you as a couple because they've got a problem?
Well, usually they'll want to come as an individual, but again, it's the aspect of holism. So if a couple is trying to have a baby, and often they've already gotten to the point where, well, it's the guy's problem or it's the woman's problem. And I'll say, no, absolutely not. It's neither one of your problems, and it's both of your problems together. It's if we're looking at it from the perspective of a couple trying to have a baby, they both need to come in and get treatment together. And that dynamic also is very different than even a lot of my fertility colleagues that only treat one or the other. And I think that offers value in its own way. And for me, it's really about how the system works as a whole. And with fertility in particular, that system means two people.
So to put this in turn for all the guys out there, basically, if the quarterback is struggling, you don't just have the quarterback train by himself. You still got to train with the rest of the team, and everybody improves so that you can deflate the balls. I mean, so you can go on and win the Super Bowl as a team, right? It's not just work on one person on the team. The team wins as a team or loses as a team, and that makes perfectly good sense. I love that. And
I love that analogy. That's great.
Thanks. I just totally made that up off the cuff. But not the part about deflating the ball. You know, I don't know if I should be talking about deflating balls while we're talking about fertility. This doesn't sound right, Robert. But
I'm not getting. I've already caused what I was going to say next. I've already caused enough damage. I'm not getting into this conversation at all.
Yeah, well, you know, and Chris, you know, Robert, I'm sure you remember we had Renee Wagner on our show a few months ago. You know, she's a coach, and really a lot of these issues too. You know, Dr. Ahm talked about, like, you know, the adrenal glands. Well, that's a stress issue right there. You know, if the couple has issues that they need to work through, that alone could cause infertility. And them working on a common goal together brings them together as a team. That's going to give them that positive energy that they need to really kind of make this pregnancy happen and make it more successful. And really, Dr. Ahm, energy healing is a lot of what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, so I bring in a blend of energy medicine, homeopathy, nutrition, lifestyle, herbal medicine, as well as supplements. So I use kind of, again, a very holistic, I have a big tool bag, and I pull out the tools that I need for each couple. And they might vary from time to time, but in general, they're getting all of me from the perspective of, let's put the picture together, let's create a map of what's happening, let's put the puzzle pieces together, and then we treat it from the perspective of how this person is going to best respond to the treatment. And we might try something and it doesn't work as well as I thought it might, so we go on to something else. But the tools are really there as a support more than the main thing.
And now I know I mentioned in the beginning that you have, for those who actually follow your program and do what they're supposed to do, you have a 95% success rate, which is astounding. That's an amazing number. How long is the average person, a client or a patient of yours, and how long can they expect from the time they walk in your door till their issue's resolved? And it's got to be quick because we're at the end of our show.
It's usually 3 to 4 months, I would say.
Wow, for people who have been trying for so many years, that's amazing. Well, Dr. Ahm, I wish, you know what, we're going to have you back again. I'm 99% certain of that because there's so much more we can talk about. But we're going to have you back. But I want to let the listeners know again about your fertility summit. Matter of fact, I'm going to be on there too. You can see it's going to be a video summit, so you'll get to actually, for those who watch, will get to see what I actually look like. But why don't you tell us about it real quick and give us the link to the website one more time.
Yeah, so it's going to feature 25 experts from around the world that are going to be talking about very specific topics that they have expertise in, and it is coming from a very holistic mind body. We're talking about all of these different tools and lab tests and the science and all of it all at once. And it's starting next week, and the link is getfertilestayfertile.com. And I'm going to urge people to share it through social media, through email, through whatever route they choose, because you may not know that your best friend is struggling with this issue. So my suggestion is just to share it with as many people as possible, and hopefully it touches someone that really needs it at the right time.
Doctor, give that website one more time, please. Doctor, give that website one more time, please.
Sure, yeah. So it's getfertilestayfertile.com.
All right. From a young teenager's point of view, that's probably not good advice, but for the majority of us, it is. We've been talking to our own Sean LaFave. It is geared for Wellness Corner, and his special guest, Dr. This has been terrific, Doctor. Thank you so much for being on the show. I certainly didn't want to make light of anything you had to do.
But it was fun.
No, thank you. It's been fun, and you guys are great. So thanks for having me on, and I'll look forward to the next time.
Thank you. And all right, thank you. Now, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to be with my good buddy John Matthews in his Conservative Syndicate Corner. We're going to be talking, politics. Oh, my God. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics, where my good friend John Matthews is waiting in the wings. Let's get him in. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. John Matthews. Welcome aboard. Good to have you here as always. I've really been looking forward to having you on today's show. There's so much going on. I don't know if I should start it off or let you make the announcements. All of a sudden, the Democrats need a little sedan to get their presidential candidates from one end of the country to the other, and the conservatives are getting to where they're going to need a bus.
Well, either side will have somebody to throw under that bus one way or the other, I think.
Yeah, you know what? You're right, John. I think there's going to be a number of people in that field that are going to be thrown under the bus.
Yeah, I was just hoping this time around, people like Lindsey Graham get the leading ticket in the idiot lottery.
How old is he? Do you know?
I'm sorry?
How old is he? Do you know?
Well, I think in relative to some of the other people around there, he's younger for certain. I think, he's probably in his 60s, maybe late 50s, early 60s, somewhere around there. Still got enough energy to push John McCain around in a wheelchair. I think that's probably what he's doing.
You know, I think he probably does do that too. I think they're kissing cousins, the two of those guys. I felt good. Rick Perry came out. That's the wrong term I want to use. I don't want to say he came out today. He actually declared today his candidacy for president, which I think is going to make everybody else sharpen their pencils a little bit. And finally, I got the feeling that Jeb Bush must have gotten all the money he can get because he declared today.
Oh, did he actually declare today? I thought he was coming out on the 15th or something like that.
No, I saw it on the news. I saw it on the Associated Press announced it today.
Oh, okay. Well, he must have jumped the gun. I know this morning they were saying he was going to come out on the 15th, but that doesn't surprise me. He's got the thing is, I think in the Bush camp, there's two candidates that they're the most worried about. One is Marco Rubio. The other one would be Rick Perry. Rick Perry probably more so because he's from Texas, and that kind of kills the George W. Bush influence there. Everybody knows that Texas is probably one of the few states that is still pretty much conservative across the board. They've got some wing nuts down there. They've got a couple of people like Sheila Jackson and people like that running around the House of Representatives. But pretty much for, in terms of the Trump card, we got somebody who's got that little southern twang, and it'll kill the Bush off that way, and a much better record of governing Texas than Jeb Bush had governing Florida. So, I can see them a little concerned. It's going to start getting interesting now. We've got 3 or 4 candidates that I think are pretty solid right now. And surprisingly, just to kill everybody, just to really throw a wrench in the works there, I don't think Ted Cruz is one of them. So,
no, I don't know. I don't either. First of all, very honestly, when you think about the experience and forgetting about who you like, who you don't like, if you think about the executive experience that Jeb Bush and Rick Perry bring to the table, these guys have been there. They've had to meet the payrolls. They've had to make the hard decisions. They've had to make the economy better for their states. They've had to make some tough decisions. Now, whether you really like them or agree with all their politics or not is inconsequential. If you start looking at the experience these guys bring to the table, they're gonna make everybody else have to sharpen their pencils.
Yeah, well, I've started to shape up in my mind they're saying the GOP is going to try to limit the top 10 candidates, meaning the top 10 draws in the polls. I don't think that's really a good idea, but then again, I can certainly understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. But I'm down to my top 5. I think out of what I've seen so far, and I don't think anybody else is going to be coming into the mix outside of maybe Scott Walker, who yet has not announced. And Bobby Jindal, I hear Bobby Jindal is going to be making an announcement in the next couple of weeks, so that'll be really interesting if he finally does jump in. But I think at this point in time, assuming that Walker is going to announce, which I believe he will, I really like I like Rick Perry. I like Scott Walker. I like Carly Fiorina. Carly Fiorina. Now, not that I think she's a viable candidate, but I really like her ability to take on the media. I think she's going to be, if she gets into that top 10 bracket, She's going to be a force to be dealt with. She's going to be our new Gingrich in 2016 because she's not afraid to take on the media.
Yeah, she's got a thick skin, and she knows how to respond to these guys. Listen, we've got to go on a commercial break. We'll be right back after these brief messages with my good buddy John Matthews in his Conservative Syndicate Corner. Don't go away. We'll be right back. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group, no mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. I forgot all about you guys being out there waiting for us to talk. I was talking to my good buddy John Matthews in the background. Totally forgot that you guys were sitting out there waiting for us to talk to you. What a dumb thing to do. Obviously, I'm screwing this whole thing up. So you've had about a minute worth of dead time. John, make up for that right now, will you?
Okay, how about if we just repeat the name John McCain for 60 seconds? That's about as much dead time as you...
Yeah, or Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham. Well, we could even go further. We can have about Barack Obama, the guy that
I think
he's everything.
Yeah, I think John McCain and Lindsey Graham take turns pushing their own wheelchairs, don't they?
Well, I don't think Graham needs a wheelchair right now. I think he's but he, definitely somebody needs to start leading John McCain around, reminding him where the restrooms are at and things like that. Put your zippers down, stuff like that. So this guy needs to be put out in the old folks' home, that's for sure. But you had said something earlier to me today before we went on the show that actually just rang true, and that was that when you talk about
a John McCain or a Lindsey Graham or or any politician that is whether or a John Boehner or any of these guys that have been up in Washington for their whole careers almost. These guys are so honed and so well tuned that you can ask them anything and they're going to have a rebuttal for it. A lot of times the rebuttal has nothing to do with the question you asked, but they're always going to come back, and it's astounding that nothing seems to blindside them.
Well, no, it's because they have all learned one thing. Now, this is whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, or any mix in between, that all you have to do is answer the question by not answering the question, and just trust that in the words of John Gruber, trust the stupidity of the American voter. You just say what you need to say in any way you need to say it, and don't ever answer the questions yes or no. That's standard practice now. Never just yes or no. Are you for this? Well, well, are you for it? Well, that's how they do it. And the point being is that even when people like Lindsey Graham and John McCain, they get on the shows and stuff like that, and people think, oh, wow, this is conservative. I was telling you earlier, a lot of people make this mistake when they talk to me and say, well, the conservatives want this. And I go, well, who are you talking about? Well, McCain. No, you're not talking about a conservative. You've got to differentiate these days between a Republican and a conservative. It's more like a blue dog Democrat and a progressive. There's that kind of a difference now. So the idea being is that just if you really want to know what they think, look at their voting record. That's what you have to look at. Now, people will say to me, oh, Mitch McConnell's got a 90% conservative voting record. No, he doesn't. If you look at when he's voted yes on a conservative issue or no on a conservative issue, you'll see that the only time he votes conservatively is when he knows his vote is not going to have any outcome. You'll see, I'll vote conservative here because the Democrats are going to, they're going to rake us over the coals anyway. So it makes me look like I'm conservative. But every time something's up, like this trade bill and things like this, and he's out there going, we're going to stop Obama. They're out there the other day. Yeah, we're going to stop Obama with the EPA. And he turned right around and vote for it, whatever Obama wants. So the idea here that we have a bunch of conservatives sitting in Congress or the Senate is a joke. It really is a joke. We don't have that many conservatives anymore. You can probably count them on one hand the way that things are looking these days, So that's something that really needs to be watched. And so when you got somebody like a Lindsey Graham and you got the media, especially the liberal media, painting him as a conservative, well, the purpose of their doing that is to either point out the hypocrisy of conservatism or to be able to use whatever he says to paint the rest of the party the same way or paint the real conservatives the same way. Put somebody like a Ted Cruz up against a Lindsey Graham, and you'll see night and day. But let me
ask you this, John. First of all, I think the premise of what I want to ask you is are we ever going to get America back? Is it ever going to be what it was before? And would it be helpful if we got rid of the electoral vote, made it a popular vote regardless of what was going on for president, and we had the term limits? And maybe would it be helpful if instead of the Republicans debate to get a Republican nominee and the Democrats debate to get a Democrat nominee, we make these guys debate each other all the way through this thing to let them fight it out, and let's see who the front runner is going to be on a popular basis. Would that help us get America back?
Well, certainly not changing from electoral vote to the popular vote. I don't think that is the answer. I think our forefathers were smart enough to know that if you can group enough votes demographically in one particular area, that you can run, roughshod over everybody else. We see that by the fact that in this day and age, I think what I would like to see with the electoral vote is not a winner take all. I would like to see I would like to say, okay, if you've won this much of the population, you get this many votes. And I think that might even it out, but I wouldn't go strictly for a popular vote. I mean, we got a lot of dead Democrats voting these days, so that's not really I think the solution. I think our forefathers were smart enough to know there needs to be a little bit more check and balance. Now, in terms of whether we can save the country, I think something Rick Perry said today is his announcement. I think I found very inspiring, and that is that we've survived other bad presidents. We've survived people like Jimmy Carter, and we've survived people like Woodrow Wilson and Franklin Roosevelt, and even people like Lyndon Johnson. We have survived them, and we've been able to come back. So the idea that we can't come back, I think, is a little bit overboard. Now, will we come back? That's a different story.
Yeah.
There's a difference between can do something and will you do something. There, now I think the key there is getting all these secret conservatives out there that don't go to the polls because they're sick and tired of what's going on. If we can get that voting faction back to the polls, then I think we have a chance. But if it's conservatives that are just sitting on their desk because they've got some kind of scorecard that says, okay, you've got to score 100% with me to get my vote, which isn't going to happen. I settle for a 70% rate. You do 7 out of 10 times you agree with me, I'll look at you as a pretty good candidate, and you'll get my vote. But if you've got these people like Graham who are out there talking, 90% conservative record, and you look at their record and they're only 40% conservative, no, that's not the deal. So the point being is the conservatives that have been sitting around, the silent majority, if they're sitting around, if they get up and do what they know they're supposed to do, we can turn the country around. I do believe Rick Perry's on the right track, and we can recover. Now, if we don't do it, we deserve what we get. And lo and behold, I would hope that those who don't vote are the ones that feel the total wrath of everything that comes down the pipe, so that they understand their ignorance and their arrogance and their apathy is what has put us in this place. We'll lose this republic if we don't get back in the voting booth and change it. And so that remains to be seen. So I think we're at a 50-50 shot right now, one way or the other.
But it's scary. I've been around a long time. I remember when Truman was president, and I've watched a lot of things going on, John, and I'm not real happy with the way the so-called leaders and movers and shakers of this country are taking us right now. It's like they have their own agenda that has absolutely nothing to do with the people that they're supposed to be representing. The fact that Bill Clinton comes out of the White House, he comes out of the White House making his $400,000 a year or $400,000 a year retirement, but he winds up all of a sudden with a net worth of $200 million. He didn't get that by doing the best things for the American people that he represented. The same thing with I was going to say the same thing with George Bush, but he was a multimillionaire when he actually went into the White House. And he's the one guy that really has not propagated his position as a prior president the way the rest of them actually have, if you think about it. Now, you were telling me earlier that you wanted to talk about the fact that Obama's ratings in the polls that came out today were actually 3 points less than George Bush's, and you were going to explain something about that, and I didn't want this to go by too far without giving you an opportunity to address that.
Well, what I'm getting at here is that any time we get into an election season, we're coming up on a general election season, and what we've seen over the years, especially during the Obama administration, is this idea that this man is qualified to be president based on his popularity rather than his job performance. We've gone from rating presidents by their job performance as to whether or not it'd be somebody you'd like to hang out and have a beer with. And it's a popularity contest now. It's like you're electing the prom king, and in the case of Hillary Clinton, maybe the prom queen kind of thing, And it has very little to do with whether you're qualified to do the job or not. Bob Schieffer, who was on, we used to be the host of Face the Nation, was being interviewed the other day, and he made the comment that perhaps the media should have been a little bit more skeptical of Barack Obama. They should have been a little bit more attentive to the kind of person he was. They should have vetted him a little more. But he said, it's a campaign, and campaign you just report what you see. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that's exactly what's wrong with the process. That's exactly what's wrong with the process, is that we're just you're buying what the campaign is saying rather than going out there and investigating whether they're saying is right or wrong or truthful or not. So in that regard, what I'm getting at is what we see is every time something happens and Obama begins to lose his popularity, not his job performance, his popularity, what happens is you start getting these articles comparing him to other presidents. They run a poll out there, they come, okay, Bush is only higher than Barack Obama at this point in his presidency. Who the hell cares? It doesn't really make any difference how popular George Bush was, 10 years ago, because he's not there anymore, So, but what it is they got to paint some kind of picture to give them some kind of comparison. And I saw last week an article that came out where they're saying, okay, who was the worst president in the history of the United States? And they deduced that it was Woodrow Wilson, because Woodrow Wilson was a narcissist, and he thought he was better than everybody else, and he thought he knew everything. And the guy says, we have to be careful of people like that. And I'm going, well, hey, aren't you looking at what's going on today? This is, Barack Obama, as far as a narcissist, makes everybody else look humble. I mean, this guy thinks he's freaking God, for crying out loud. And
I heard a scientist say the other day that I'm trying to think of his name, and I just went blank on it. But and he said that he really believed that we would be better off. We, the world, would be better off if instead of having country governments or governments of countries, that we would have a world government, and the countries would answer to the world government. What do you think about that?
Well, that's obviously the objective of anybody that goes into politics for power. Whether I've told people this, I firmly believe that once Obama leaves the White House, is that his next job or his next campaign he'll be running for the head of the UN. I think this guy wants world domination, and the idea that we put everybody under one single government. We're already under one single government. People just don't know it. We're under the auspice of God. God is over all government, period. So the idea that, and what we get in governments, respective to our countries, is we get the government that we allow to come in. So if we say, if a tyrant rises up, somebody like an Adolf Hitler, well, the people put him in office. Now, he was a tyrant, but they put him there. We look at somebody like a Barack Obama, we put him there, whether you want to, be part of, responsible for that or not. He was still elected, and he was elected twice. So we get what we look for. We get what we allow. And the idea that what we're going to do is we're going to centralize all this and give all this power to a few, that's exactly what has led us to all the problems that we have in history, throughout history. Give one or two people a little bit of power and let them make all the decisions, and before long, then they start out as the most benevolent, merciful person in the world. But you give them enough power, and they will turn into a tyrant, period. And then you're oppressed. And then once you're oppressed, you can't do anything about it. So the idea of a one-world government, don't think so. That ain't going to happen. Not at least this side of heaven. So it's a bad idea.
So you think this guy's been looking at too many Star Trek movies, huh?
Oh, no, I think the guy's just smoking too much weed.
Yeah, you know what? I hadn't given that any thought. That's probably true, Just in case you're wondering about it, I purposely took us through our last commercial set because I screwed up on that first one, and I wanted to make sure that people got enough of us going in here. So we still got about 2.5-3 minutes before we close off this segment, John. So we can talk about just about anything that you want to talk about. I agree with you. It seems to me that not only do we have probably the five richest men in the country that are really picking who's going to be running this country, but we also those 5 people pick the influence that is going to that we're going to be exposed to. I sit back and I think about a Jeb Bush or a Hillary Clinton, both of them in the same box here, and I think in terms of neither one of them wanted to declare. Neither one of them wanted to declare. They were waiting until they had $1 billion in their super PACs, and they were giving instructions and laying down all these parameters. And then once they had their $1 billion, or as much as they thought they could have, then they go ahead and declare. At that point, they can no longer have any management facility with regard to these people. I think that's what was really going on. I just think that we need to have some kind of limits on the amount of money that you spend, because the presidency today is not a presidency that's won; it's a presidency that's bought.
Well, I agree 100%. I think if there's anything about the presidential election process that needs to be changed, when we talk about campaign reform, it would have to be how long you can go and collect money without disclosing before you declare your presidency. That one thing, if they change that one thing, then I think it would level the playing field. When you're sitting out there, because when you haven't declared, you can take in as much money as you want, and you don't have to declare where that's coming from. And you got people like Bush out there, even Clinton, all of them are guilty of it to one degree or another, and they're out there just soaking as many dollars in as they can before they actually come out and declare, and it does put other people at a disadvantage. I, for one, believe that what should happen is just national debates. These people if we're going to do anything, let's delegate TV time and radio time. Let's put these people out there across from each other, and they have to tour the country. They have to appear in all the major cities and sit down there and face the people and answer the questions. None of this programmed stuff on these debates with CNN and MSNBC and all this where the questions are loaded. Let's get them out there, get them in a town hall situation, let the people shoot the questions at them and make them answer. And you wouldn't even need all this money for that.
Boy, from your lips to God's ears, that is the absolute thing. Even if you got it down to the two people that got the nomination, and let them fight it out city by city together. They show up together in every city. You're absolutely right, and that would be something really interesting. I'd tune into that every single day, John.
I would too. I'd make a trip to a couple of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, unfortunately, we're out of time. Talk about your show, will you?
Okay, well, we're getting ready to launch in another show, Shake and Wake Radio, next week. So we're back up to 7 affiliates right now where you can hear anything and find out anything about us by going to theconservativesyndicate.net. It has all our archives, our blogs, information about our panel, the people that contribute to the show, which Bob is one of them. And you can go there to theconservativesyndicate.net and find out what you need to know about us. Everything is there.
And it is just a phenomenal show. I encourage all of my listeners to listen to John. And John, this has been a great show. Thank you so very much. This has been great.
All right. Well, you take care, my friend.
All right. Now, do not go away. When we come back, I'll be talking about the birthdays for today. I'll be talking about the secret daily teachings for your life, the Harvard Business Tip of the Day, and interesting but useless facts. You don't want to miss them. We'll be right back. And, boy, I'll tell you what, if you missed this time with John, it'll be on my archives a little bit later on. And you can pick it up on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, YouTube. It's all over the place. And you can go right to John's site and hear this all over again, too. So don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group, no mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:41 p.m. Pacific Time. Currently 70 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? It's Thursday, June the 4th, and it's somebody's birthday. Well, this man was renowned, born in 1932, passed away in 2004. He was an American actor. He was John Drew Barrymore. Happy birthday, John. And here's a guy that was born in 1956, an American journalist, and a great one at that, John Hockenberry. And here's the one that we all know, the one we all think about, the one we kind of dream about sometimes. Born in 1975, an American actor and goodwill ambassador for the United Nations Refugee Agency. Happy birthday to Angelina Jolie. Yep. Well, what happened today in history? Well, I can tell you that in 781, you got it right, 781, the first historic solar eclipse was recorded in China. And then in 1939, Holocaust, a ship carrying 963 Jewish refugees is denied permission to land in Florida, the United States, after already being turned away from Cuba, forced to return to Europe. Many of its passengers later died in Nazi concentration camps. That's bad stuff. Well, our quote for today comes from J.W. Egan, and J.W. says, "Never judge a book by its movie." Yeah, you heard me. You thought I was going to say cover, didn't you? Yeah, gotcha. Never judge a book by its movie. You'll be disappointed. Well, let's talk about the secret daily teachings for your life. You know, this is all about a positive mental attitude. I tell you this all the time. I'm going to continue telling you it all the time. If I can get you to make these your own, to have a positive mental attitude, your life will be better for it. Today's secret is from Charles Fillmore. Charles was actually born in 1854, passed away in 1948. And he says, the spiritual substance from which comes all visible wealth is never depleted. It is right with you all the time in response to your faith in it and your demands on it. It's all about positive mental attitude. You know, every day I talk to you about this. Every day I quote somebody different, and they all say the same things. That's what you got to be thinking about. Well, let's talk about that Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is get better at remembering people's names. Boy, I'm really bad at this. You know, it's a problem many of us have experienced. You meet someone new, and 2 seconds later you can't remember his or her name. This is hugely important in building business connections. So here's a few tips for you. Get it right the first time. If you're introduced to someone and don't catch her name right away, ask her to say it again. If it's a name you don't recognize, ask about its origin or how it's spelled. Use it right away. It's nice to meet you, John. Don't overdo it, but try to work the name into the conversation a few times as you start talking. And ask for a business card. Don't just stick it in your pocket. Take a look at it and comment on the logo or something else while you focus on the name. And then finally, connect the name to something familiar. This will help you remember it later. I promise. That stuff works. I've done it, and it really does work. Now, I have a memory problem, and this memory by association has been one of my ways of dealing with it. So I highly encourage you to do that same thing. Well, it's that time for interesting but useless facts. I'm getting to where I really like this part of the show. Did you know that the Hawaiian alphabet has only 12 letters in it? There you go. Go figure, right? How about this one? Starfish have no brains. Now, you got to say to yourself, how do they move? How do they get along? Why do they move? Where's the life come from? They got no brain? How about this? Did you know that the first Super Bowl was broadcasted by two networks, CBS and NBC? Here's one for you. Do you know if a lobster loses an eye, it'll grow another one? Now, there's a technology we'd certainly benefit by, don't you think? Isn't that amazing? How about this? The word taxi is spelled the same in English, German, French, Swedish, and Portuguese. Taxi. and it means the same thing all the time. How about this? Did you know that pi has been calculated to over I think it's 2,260,321,363 digits. Yeah, you heard me. 2,260,321,363 digits. Yeah, who cares? 3.14, that'll do it. How about this? Did you know that Larry Ellison, Oracle's CEO, holds the records for highest executive compensation in 1 year? $706 million he earned in the year 2001. Wow. Only had to work 1 year and then forget it, right? How about this? You know that women have a slightly higher average IQ than men? And they're never going to let you forget it, guys. Here's one for you. You know that every year $1.5 billion is spent on pet food? Now, this is 4 times the amount spent on baby food. Go figure that one out. I can't. Try this out. You know, according to the film's animators, you'll see 6,469,952 black spots every time you watch 101 Dalmatians. That's kind of interesting if you think about it. Did you know the word news did not come about because it was the plural for new? It came from the first letters of the words north, east, west, and south. The news from the world. Let's give you one last one. Over 98% of Japanese people are cremated after they die. 98%. A little interesting. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to deal with your emails. My first one comes from Skylar Cisneros from Linden, New Jersey, asking about a non-custodial parent. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses: website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. 2222. Aho Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics, where at 5:52 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently still 70 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, we're coming down to the wire. It's time for our emails. I want to remind you that it's an entertainment section of the show, and I tried my best to answer these shows as comprehensively as I can. But you know what? The information that I give you is only as good as the information you give me, which sometimes is a little sketchy, but I'm giving you good, thorough answers for the information you give me. But we're going to encourage you to always, always, always seek the advice of a licensed professional. They're going to generally save you more money than they cost you. And better than that, they're going to let you sleep at night. You're not going to have any frustration or worries, because if they made a mistake, they're liable for it. They got to pay the piper, and they're required as a licensee to have errors and omissions insurance. It's so that they got to pay for the mistakes they make in your case. Well, my first email, as I said today, is Skylar Cisneros from Linden, New Jersey, asking about a non-custodial parent, and writes, my ex-wife and I have a child who lives with her. If I pay most of our child support, can I claim the dependency exemption? Can I also file to get lower tax rates? So here's the deal, Skylar. You can claim the dependency exemption as a non-custodial parent if your wife signs for because the child didn't live with you for more than half the year. Your wife might be eligible to do that. So go to publication 501. That's exemptions, standard deductions, and filing information. That'll help you. Also keep in mind that that Form 8332 has 2 boxes in it. Make sure you check the right box. One of them gives you the deduction forever. The other one just for this year. Give it some thought. Next email comes from Leonardo Andres from Baltimore, Maryland, asking about conditional gifts. And it says, if I give my fiancée a valuable engagement ring, will it be subject to gift tax? Good question, Leonardo. Now, you can make gifts worth up to $13,000 to any individual annually and not owe a gift tax. And if you marry in the year that you give the ring, it's also okay because spouses' gifts to each other are tax-free. And marital status at the end of the year governs for the entire year for tax purposes. A conditional gift that must be returned if no wedding actually occurs, so no gift tax would apply in that case. But in a state where the gift of the ring is deemed a completed gift that the recipient is entitled to keep even if there is no marriage, gift tax then applies. So, talk to your tax professional. Find out where you're at in this thing. Next email comes from Paris Correa from Danville, Virginia, asking about IRA contributions.